friends, this is DJ Lance Rock, and I am here with a man who needs no introduction. Oh, I guess I'll give him an introduction. Everyone, this is musical legend Gary Numan. Hi, Gary. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And it's really exciting. You're going to receive the 2016 Moog Innovation Award.
I know. Very flattered. Very flattered. Actually.
Well, it's well deserved. It's well deserved.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Everything that you've done over the years, like you've had a career that spanned almost 4 decades, you know, about that. So it's about time, I think.
You know, the whole thing for me started with one of these. Oh, it makes a noise.
I'm going to do a little jam afterwards.
No, but it was this machine that I went into the studio to make a punk album. I had no interest in electronic music whatsoever. There'd been a few things that I'd listened to and liked, but nothing that made me think that's for me. And I go to the studio to make this guitar-based punk album, and one of these was in the corner, and they let me have a go of it, and it made a bit of noise in that actually at the time, but it blew me away. I'd never heard anything like it, and they very kindly let me use it for the next 2 or 3 days that we were there, and so I very amateurishly and crudely converted these guitar-based punk songs into pseudo-electro songs on the fly, and took that back to the record company, having convinced myself that this was certainly what I wanted to do and what I thought was going to be massive at some point, and I wanted to be in at the front end of it, and they were unhappy. It wasn't what they wanted at all, so we had a big fight and a big argument.
Wow.
And eventually, I think more because he didn't have any budget to send me back. Really, they decided to put the album out, and it did all right. Okay, so they let me do another one, and that one went to #1. So it all came really good, really quickly. But it all started with that machine there. So for me, it's quite special.
It should be special because, like, you know, after you did Two-Way Army, like you said, you converted some stuff to electronics, and it's been just a staple of music, because a lot of times when you think of, you know, especially the analog synths back in the day, it's like this kind of epic prog music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this was something that is a little more visceral. Like, it really was exciting to, like, all kinds of people around when they first heard a lot of your stuff.
I think that the reason it worked for me was because I went into the studio with a drummer and a bass player, and me as a guitar player, and then I found these. I kind of grafted this on to what I'd done before. So it was unusual enough for people to think it was experimental, and it wasn't really. But it was familiar enough for people to not be uncomfortable with it. So just by chance, I straddled that line between the two, and away it went.
Well, that's where the genius comes, because it wasn't like so far out, but it was definitely something that a lot of people weren't doing. So it definitely has an original flavor, and that's why it really still holds up after all this time.
Well, that's very kind.
It's very true.
I think more luck than genius, but there you go. I think I was very lucky. I just happened to almost literally stumble across it at the right time, just as the world was becoming maybe ready. You know, there had been some other craft work had been along. Eno was doing his thing with Bowie. There had been some seeds sown already, and so there was this, I think, unknown, but there was this sort of feeling building for it, and it just needed the right thing to come along at the right time. And by luck, that happened to be me.
You keep saying that, but like, I even remember when I watched the Synth Britannia documentary. Like, all these people were there, and there was Cabaret Voltaire and the Human League, and they were all building up. But like, you were like, you know, like a rock punk musician, so you had that element and you grafted it on, and it just took off. Because you had, they had this, but you had that and that. So like you said, you straddled both worlds, but it's like, you were a good songwriter, you had all these elements, because a lot of other people wouldn't have made that work.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Take a compliment!
Oh, yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you. I've never seen it that way.
Well, no, and that's fair enough, and I respect that. I'm just saying that.
I'm glad you do.
The impact,
Nice.
Well, me and most of the people I know, and I know so many other musicians, and that's why you're getting this Innovation Award from Moog.
Well,
you know?
I am grateful. I'm genuinely flattered, and to come from the Moog people, obviously, because I started with that, makes it all the more special. So I am blown away with it.
Well, it's well deserved.
Thank
well
you.
deserved.
Thank you.
Well, they've given this to you because of all the work that you have done, but you've continued to like produce really great records. And like we were talking earlier, I saw you in 2013 at Amoeba.
Yeah.
You were there to promote your Splinter album.
Yeah.
And you did some songs from that, and you did a couple of old songs, and they all, like, they just sounded so well together. Like your new material was really exciting, and I'm actually happy to see that there were so many people that were really into your new material.
Yeah.
You know, because
it's been a battle at times, but yeah, it's getting there now.
you know, because I just think there's a lot of these acts that go out and they're like kind of like on the nostalgia circuit, and like, you know, you're still making relevant music, and then you have a new audience too.
I think that's because this is why I've always been drawn to this sort of thing, electronic music in general, because it itself is constantly evolving. The technology in it is constantly evolving. And so if your core interest in music, I'm not a very good musician. I like noises, sounds, and so I've made a career out of coming up with noises and finding a way of turning that into music. It's not as if I'm a really great guitar player, so my songs show you what a great guitar player I am, because I'm not. I've come at it from a slightly different angle, and I've stayed with that the whole way through it. And so my interest is, what am I going to do tomorrow? What new sounds will I find? What technologies will there be that can make me and something I've never heard before, and then how will I turn that into music? And so it's almost by default, it progresses with each one as each album comes along, because it's technology driven. So in that sense, I think I've been very lucky in that the genre that I chose, that I focused in on, is one that drives you forward simply by being a part of it.
I couldn't agree more. You've done so many different things, you know, like you went from, you know, replicas to Pleasure Principle to Telecom to dance to, you know, I Assassin, you know, and I kind of hope you play We Take Mystery to Bed. Personally, just going to say that. But
the second person that's asked me to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a hint then. But you have always evolved and tried to do different things, and you know, I've been a fan for a long time, and I was really excited like when you started Numan Records. I know it was primarily for you, but you had a bunch of different artists on there, and like, and I remember like one of the early ones was Hohoken, I think. It was Harlequin Tears or something like that.
That's right.
And you know, it was really like a lot more propulsive and dancey than kind of stuff that you did, but it definitely felt like, you know, this was something that you had discovered and you wanted to showcase to the world.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to do that again? Like, you have a platform to have like new artists that you're excited about, or just artists you would like to promote?
I would
again?
love to, yeah. I would love to. I got badly burned actually with Numan Records, so it was something that I, having failed dismally at that, just put to one side. But that desire to do that, to find people, is as strong as ever.
Oh, great.
We support bands on this little tour that I'm doing now, and a British tour that I'm doing in September. I'm taking I Speak Machine, Tyra Bush.
Yeah, oh, wonderful, wonderful.
So it's trying to find people that are doing something really different and really unusual and really creative that you also think your fans will go for. There's no point in hitting them over the head with something they're not going to go for. But trying to find those things which are doing something which I think is important, might be too strong a word, but worthwhile. You know, to try to push back this middle of the road kind of
absolutely
get stuck in. And they're out there. There's a lot of really cool people out there.
And that's what's great about the internet. There's access to all these different people, and I feel like you only hear about X amount of people, but there's a lot of people out there trying to produce stuff. So I think that's great that you want to give certain artists a platform. I think that's really wonderful.
It's for me, it's good. Yeah, for me, it brings me into other people's music, and it makes me think differently, and it encourages me to not get stuck in my own rut. Everyone can do it. No matter how creative you are, you can get formulaic about the way you go about things. And it's good for me. You talk to other people. That's why I love things like this. You listen to other people. You listen to their interviews and how they go about things, and you think, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And off you go again. And it just keeps making you twist and turn with your own direction, and that is all useful.
Excellent. That's really smart. I guess I'm going to wrap this up in a second, but I wanted to ask you, you've been doing like, you know, the trilogy of the first 3 albums. You've been on the road with that, and a lot of your fans are really excited to hear that, because I know they didn't get to hear that back in the day. But how do you feel about playing this? Are you still excited about playing that older material, or do you just want to like, I'm just going to do it one more time and then be done with it, and just,
It's a bit like that.
Is it?
Yeah. If I'm honest, I'm supposed to be positive and go, oh no, I love it. I love doing all the old stuff. Truth is, it's good fun for a bit, just for a bit.
For a bit, yeah. You don't
know,
want...
Once in a while. And it's nice to go back and remember, but it's more for people that... I don't do much old stuff when I play live normally, and I get a lot of complaints about that. And I understand that, and I am slightly arrogant by not doing it. But I'm just not interested. You know, the new album, the one I'm working on for next year, that's, my head's full of that. And all day long I'm thinking of little notes and I'm writing things down, and that's where the excitement... If you're creative, why would you want to think about what you've done before? It's all about what you do next. It has to be about
absolutely.
What you do next. And that's where the fun of it and the excitement and the challenge, that's where it all comes from. Tomorrow, not yesterday.
Absolutely, and because that was in the 70s. We're far away from that. So that would be like if you were still like you didn't grow or evolve, like you said, and especially for an artist, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But there are sort of milestones that, hey, you came out with this record and that, you know, created this awareness. So there's certain things it's great to acknowledge, but you don't want to be stuck there forever.
That's the thing, and that's what this is. This is in a way a celebration of the fact that those albums brought me to where I am now, and will launch me to where I'm going next. So it's a recognition of the importance they've had for me, and that the fact that for a lot of people, they turn them on to a sort of music they've never heard before. It's not, for me, a big artistic flag in the ground type thing. You know, look at what I did then. I don't look back at them and think how great it was. I look back at them and all I can hear is all the things that I should have done.
That you should have done, right?
Didn't, you know. So to me, they're just an exercise in mistakes that I improved upon with each subsequent one, and will do again, however many more I'm going to make.
And that's why you're an artist. You always keep trying to refine and do something else different, or how you feel you can improve yourself. So that's a great thing. But speaking of great moments, and I don't know if you feel this way, I have to say, your performance at Down in the Park on Erga Music War is like in the top 10 best performances ever. That's just such a, like, anytime I show that to people, like their jaws drop, and like I can watch that performance and never ever get tired of it.
Oh, thank you.
How do you feel about that? Like, how did you feel when you, like, it's so theatrical, and it seems so otherworldly. Like, that's not what any musicians were doing at that time, and you just looked like you came from another place, and it still holds up. It still has that sort of appeal.
Well, I don't know if it's the same one that you saw, but I used to be in like this kind of little car.
Yes, that's it.
With a very early generation radio mic, and I was just trying to make sure I didn't roll off the side of the stage. I wasn't thinking too much about the art of it. Oh Christ. You get all the dry ice, you know, and it'll be flowing along. And I couldn't see where the side was, and that was always my big fear, that I just look an idiot. Spinal tap moment.
There was no spinal tap. Maybe because you were concentrating so much, it made it look more intense.
Yeah.
But it works either way, so we're not going to demystify it. It's still one of the greatest live performances ever here. So, Gary, thank you for taking all of this time, and continued success. I look forward to hearing the new album, and congratulations on the 2016 Moog Innovation Award. You really deserve it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm DJ Lance Rock. This is Gary Numan. He is awesome, and so are you. We'll see you next time.